Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Isabella and I make videos on interior design and some other life stuff. If you're not new here, those things are still true. I apologize if it's really loud outside. It is the hottest day ever in June in the UK right now. I'm sweating. I've turned my fan off to film this video, but I have to leave the door open or else bad things will happen. In today's video, we're talking about things that I'm loving right now in interior design. I made a video like this back in April, I believe, that was completely inspired by Medora Kia's video series about highly specific things that they're enjoying in interior design, or I think it's called oddly specific things. Whatever it is, I will link it in the description below. And with that, let's get into the meat of the video. The first thing that I'm loving in interior design at the moment is clocks. I am quite an anxious person and I hate not knowing what time it is. I have a big fear of being late and I feel much more in control when I know the time. But I think with the rise of smartwatches and smartphones, people don't have clocks in their house anymore. And I'm like, I need to know what time it is. And I think that clocks add such an interesting decorative element to a home. It can serve as a sculptural piece or something interesting to put on your walls that isn't just art or your TV. And I think that there are so many interesting clock designs, whether that's analog or digital, and I just think they really add something interesting to the space. Something that has been particularly trendy recently is from the brand Twemco, which is a clock company based in Hong Kong that is known for these flip clocks that I'm sure you've seen all over social media. There are dupes for them from other brands that I've seen, but these ones are the original. And next time I'm in Hong Kong, which if you don't know is where I grew up, I would love to go to the warehouse to view them. I think that I saw Benji Plant here on YouTube get a clock from them in one of his vlogs, and I just think that it's such like a sleek, timeless design. Although I feel like I would maybe get annoyed by like the sound of the flip, so I definitely would not have that in my bedroom. I think in general, I would like to move more towards being off of my phone and instead towards using more analog things. I know, hot take going analog in 2026, but I definitely think that I want to make sure that I use an alarm clock rather than using my phone to try and not sleep with my phone in my bedroom. And I think that alarm clocks, especially analog ones, can add so much thoughtful design to a space while serving a function. The next thing that I've been really into at the moment is different and interesting ways of hanging your keys. I think that it is essential in an entryway to have somewhere to put your keys down as soon as you come in so that you don't lose them or leave them somewhere and then are scrambling to find them when you're trying to leave the house. I've seen these kind of homemade ceramic ones everywhere that I think are really cute and something that I would definitely be interested in doing myself. But I've also seen everywhere these picture frames where it's a wooden picture frame, a colorful matting, and then a picture, usually a photo booth of the people who live there and their keys underneath. I know that this is like super trendy and super popular on Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, etc. But I really like it and I think it looks really nice. And I think that it doesn't necessarily have to be a trendy thing. Like, you do need somewhere to put your keys, and unless you dissolve your relationship with that person and stop living together, I think that a picture of you and a loved one is a pretty timeless thing. Obviously, what's trendy about this is the framing and the matting that goes with it, but you can choose whatever frame and whatever mat you want. It doesn't have to be this thing specifically. The next thing I'm really obsessed with, and I think it's partially because we're going through a massive heat wave here in the UK, is a fan. I don't like how in lots of, and this isn't the fault of anyone in particular, social media or whatever, with prop styling, you take out the things that people use but that don't look aesthetic, and that is often a fan. But I think that a fan can look really nice in a room. In my room, when I posted my bedroom makeover, I left the fan in because I was like, I think that this is a pretty sleek design and it fits in with how my room looks, which is a pretty modern room. But I think that these older metal fans are like so nice and do give off a good breeze. I have something very similar, but it's unfortunately made of plastic that was really cheap that I bought from a department store. But if you can get your hands on one of these metal ones, I think that they both look nice and add interest to a room and serve the function of keeping you cool. maybe this is just in the forefront of my mind because it's so hot, but I really like how the fans look in all of these images, and I'm glad that people took pictures of them in a space rather than removing them for the purpose of looking more aesthetic, because I think that good design is not just about aesthetics, but also about serving function and helping the people in this home live the way that they are supposed to be living. The next thing that I have been obsessed with for like a year is gooseneck kettles. I assume that these serve a function and are particularly for coffee drinkers to like not pour the hot water on too fast. I just have a basic Russell Hobbs kettle at home, but I stayed in a hotel, I think it was in the Philippines, that had like a black matte gooseneck kettle, and I was just like, I need one of these in my life. My kettle works perfectly well, so I'm not going to waste money buying a new kettle, and I also think that you shouldn't throw away stuff or get rid of stuff just to get something that's more aesthetically pleasing. And clearly I don't even know what function the gooseneck kettle serves, so it would be lost on me for anything other than the fact that I think that it looks nice. But I just think they're so sleek. I love it in the matte black. I think it is such a nice piece to have in your kitchen. I am really against people like putting away stuff that they use all the time in their kitchen, like people who hide their microwaves or their toasters or their kettles and they have to get it out every time they use it. Similar to the fan thing, like that's just not functionally how people live. And so if you are going to have that stuff out, which I would suggest that you should in order to live a normal human life, then it's always nice to have a very nice version of that. The next thing that I've been really into at the moment is actually something that I have in my own house. And I'm not trying to be like, wow, my house is so nice, blah, blah, blah. But like, I do love the way that we decorated our house. And when I see this thing, I'm like, wow, I'm so glad we did that. And that is having pegboards in the kitchen. This is inspired by Julia Child, who is a chef who in her kitchen home design is known for having these pegboards to store her pots and pans and other things. And I just think that this looks so good and is also so useful. Like it's so much easier for me to pick a pot or a pan off the wall than it is to dig through a cupboard, and it also saves so much more space by having it on the wall. And I just think that it makes the kitchen feel a lot more homey, like people actually live there and cook there, and it, again, like a lot of the other things on this list, serves a function while also having aesthetic value. I have just like 2 IKEA pegboards in my kitchen, but I really love people who cover a whole wall or a whole strip of their wall. So that's like the focal point with a pegboard. And I'm especially really enjoying the people who have a colorful pegboard as a way to bring in more life and more color into their space that is pretty neutral. The next thing I've been obsessed with is this very specific plant called a begonia maculata. Hopefully I've said that correctly. I have been wanting this plant for absolutely ages. I think like probably close to a year at this point. And I've just told myself like, I don't need to be buying more plants. I don't really have space for them. And I just feel like I'm good at taking care of plants that are easy to take care of, but I feel like this would be a lot trickier than the plants that I own, and I would just ultimately not give it a good home. But I think that they're so beautiful. I love the polka dots. I love the structural quality that they have. I think it's such an interesting plant to have in a space. I think it looks good with so many different types of ceramics and pots, and I would just love to have one of these eventually, and I think they would just add a lot to any home. I think plants in general add a lot to any home. I have plants that are very easy to take care of, like a pothos and a rubber tree, but I would love to be able to have a more visually interesting plant like this. And the final thing that I've been obsessed with recently are speckled ceramic plates. I am not really behind the whole like super patterned or intricate plates, but I also don't love like a plain white plate. And I specifically saw these dinner plates from a company called Sophia Ceramics that is based here in London. And these oat color ceramic plates I thought were so beautiful. They're so expensive, I could not afford them, but that sort of sent me down the rabbit hole at looking at these other sort of neutral toned, not quite white, not quite brown, speckled dinner plates. And I just think they look so nice, and there is something that's really valuable and luxurious about having something that is handmade from a small business, from a small artist that I really like. So those are all of the things that I'm loving in interior design at the moment, and I would love to hear what you're loving at the moment as well. I'm hoping I can post my bedroom makeover part 2 sometime soon. I just haven't done it because I tore my quad muscle and also hurt my foot. But I'm hoping to be recovered soon so that I can actually do more stuff around the house. And I'm also hoping to do a home updates video soon, but again, that requires more walking and maneuvering than I can currently do. But if you like this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and comment down below anything you'd like to comment down below. And if you'd like to see more videos like this from me, please make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. Thank you for watching.